got to straighten out the chain. We got to straighten it all out because this is Sir Don Kincaid and my very special guest. Are you kidding me? I've got the Fogman is on my show. What's up, baby?
What's going here, Kincaid? I mean, it's a bad connection. It's not our fault. These things happen. I mean, maybe Pedro's running my phone. I don't know. You know, these things happen. So, what's your questions there, Kincaid?
What do you mean, what are my questions? You're grilling me. I've never even, the only person I even got most of this grill, and now you're giving me shit. But anyway, sorry about that. Let me calm down. What we do is like, we like the fans to be able to know the Fogman a little bit and such. And what you got going on over there?
Got a little Sonic, got a little Arby's going on, maybe.
Oh, okay. All right. The connection, as Fog said, it's a little wonky. So we're going to just push through it and give the fans a little more insight on the Fogman. Fogman, you've been doing this show Center Ring. It's on a public access in Wallingford, live at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday evenings. And man, what a great time that is. You give the fans so much from across the country, sometimes across the globe. Where did Center? I want
to have too much footage.
Hey, I want to know personally, but let's share with the fans. How did Center Ring come about, and when did it start?
Well, 96 we started it, but it was way before 96. I started going to indie shows around 90-ish, all right? Okay. Because there wasn't that many around us back then. They were more in mass in New York. There was nothing in Connecticut back then, nothing. Then they started doing Connecticut, and that was just wonderful. You had Century Wrestling Alliance. You had all kinds of like really, really good stuff. And I started going, and I got involved. Like one promoter decided, hey, you know what? You look like a personality, so I'm gonna let you come in. Why don't you start like I don't even remember what they called it back then. A blog. It wasn't like a blog though, because there was no. You know what I'm talking about. Come on, kid, I'm aging myself here. Basically, he wanted me to be like a manager, and I was like, but I'm not trained. So I'm like, I did stuff to be funny. I did interviews in the ring just to be funny, but I never took them seriously. I really didn't. Like, I wish that I know that there is copies of this, what I'm talking about, and I can produce it. I just got to get it. I'm talking to you out there, Top Rope owner, Steve Ricard. I want my footage. I need my footage. The bad thing is, it's on VHS. He hasn't yet to actually put it onto a DVD or YouTube, anything like that. But he does have it. And I started doing interviews. So I'm like, I should do a TV show. I'm like, well, why not? Nobody else is doing it. And then I started doing it, and I looked around, and all these other people started doing it. I was like, you have PWI. All right. Now, Don, PWI is a very well-known magazine. So why call your show after a mag? I'm like, no, my show is going to be called Center Ring. And I like that because, get it? The center of the ring. We are the center of the ring. Get it? Center ring. So simple, easy. The Fogman name is a different story for another time. But that's how we got our start. We got our start this way, and it's cool. We had a lot of guests, Don. Believe it or not, my very, very first guest, Ron Zombie. Yeah, and after Ron Zombie, it was Rex Lethal, and he passed away. God rest his soul. Because Rex Lethal has passed. He has left us. but it was Rex Lethal because him and Zombie had feuds, and I thought it would be funny to stir the pot with those two, and I always did. Then it was the Postman, believe it or not. That was his name. The gimmick was the Postman.
Really?
And the Squared Circle has a guy who also was part of PWI, Bad News Bob, and he used to actually do the what do you call it? The manager of the Postman, believe it or not. He used to come up with those annoying mouth things and just annoy the fans. And that was Bad News Bob there from PWI. But I don't know. We went high and we call all over the place when I met Mike Lombardi from NEW, and he's been a dear friend ever since. And I mean, I've enjoyed his shows since then. So indie wrestling, man, was at a hot spot back then. You had Assault Championship Wrestling. I know you remember that, Mr. Kincaid. That was crazy. That's where I first met Bull Dread and Joseph Von Schmidt. We're getting news feeds here that are in my way. So what else you got for me, Kincaid?
You said the name the Fogman should be for a different time. Well, now that you're done with that, this is a different time, and we're here to find out a little bit more about the Fogman. So tell us, how did you get your name?
All right, so Kincaid, this is secret privileged information.
Yeah.
I happen to be at a strip club, all right, and my glasses got foggy, and the guy with me was laughing, and he said, "You're foggy. You're the Fogman." I'm going, Fogman? That's a beautiful name. And ever since, that's been my copyrighted name.
Wait, so copyrighted?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Center Ring's copywritten too. Commissioner Hogg had Center Ring copywritten years ago.
Oh, wow. Hey, that's just so Vince McMahon can't get his dirty little claws on it.
Well, no, that one I cannot get a sense at this time. Legal obligations. Has nothing to do with WWE.
I know. I'm just effing with you.
No, I mean, we've had our little instigators done all over the years. Believe me, one guy actually called. No lie. This was the stupidest thing I ever heard, but I didn't care because it got me a WWE contract. I am not lying to you. Cox Cable has the paperwork that says we, as a TV show, are allowed to show, I believe it was 4 to 6 seconds of WWE footage. And I, myself, all I have to do is call the phone number that they gave me, and I could get any footage I want from the archives. Anything. They would send me anything. They also used to give me free tickets and give me T-shirts. And that was around the Austin 316 era. But what they tried to tell the WWE, and I love this, the show was not on Thursdays back then, Don. 96 to about 2000-ish, it was on a Tuesday. All right? I hated Tuesday. Then they moved it to Friday, didn't like it on Friday. So that's when I had it moved to a Thursday. I wanted to there was, no SmackDown, no Thunder, no Thunder, no nothing. So I see again myself. We moved it, but the person that complained, that here's where it is, the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Again, I told you, Center Ring was on a Tuesday. Mm-hmm. They told WWE and the lawyers from WWE that called me that Center Ring was illegally showing pay-per-view footage live. Wait, live on a Tuesday? Pay-per-views are on a Sunday. Center Ring was never aired on a Sunday, ever. Was that humanly possible? So, of course, the lawyers checked into that, saw it, and they're like, "We are so sorry, Mr. Fogman. You are set for life." Now, the funny thing is I got comped. I most certainly got comped to a lot of WWE events. One event, as McMahon himself walked by, he stopped. I was front row, not third, not fourth, front row. He said, "Hey, Fogman, how you doing?" Shook my hand and walked away. I was like, man, Vince McMahon was awesome because that's what I always comped the tickets under, Fogman. Always. I never gave my real name. I comped them under the Fog. I didn't care. Who else is gonna say, "Oh yeah, I got tickets for the Fogman"? Come on now. It was great though. Great stuff.
Now, when Center Ring started, was it just you by yourself with Commissioner Hogg, or were there any other members?
No, we start with a guy who will always and forever be called Eslop. We don't give his name out, legal obligations again, but he will always and forever be called Eslop from me. We kicked him off the second episode, right? So I was in search for co-hosts because I don't like to do it alone. You know I don't like to do it alone. It's too much. So that's when I got my ECW, Paulie Papalizio, all right? And a kid that called himself Dan, believe it or not, Dan the Man, not Dan D Man, Dan the Man. A young kid. He used to call himself Dan the Man. His name was actually Dan Sevago. He was the WCW guy. So I got to be the WWE guy. So that's what we used to do is just go over WWE, ECW, WCW. We went and I met Paul Heyman. I met Taz. I used to get comped all the time for ECW. I never paid for an ECW show. It was phenomenal. Heyman was one hell of a guy. They all were. They all treated me with respect. I used to go backstage, Don, to talk.
Nice.
Francine was the best. The best. It was just great. But the thing is, there wasn't enough ECW around us to keep doing the show. So I'm like, dude, we need something else. So all of a sudden, that's when we started really going to indie shows because there was a bunch of feds. They were running out of the Sports Palace in New Britain. So it was fun, man. We had a lot of good time.
I must have been at shows there back in the day when they were doing it because I've been to a bunch of shows there. That place was so crazy. It was like, it was
mobbed
in New Britain, Connecticut. It was an indoor soccer facility, and
that's what it was.
Yeah, and what was really cool though was the wrestling was down on the lower level, but there was like a balcony setting where you would have to walk around, go down the stairs, and get in. Dude, what a pick for wrestling!
The bar was up there. I remember that.
Man, that was a cool place. I must have been at some shows with Foggy, and I didn't even know it. Holy shit!
You probably walked by me like 90 times and didn't realize it. So you most likely may have seen one of those interviews I'm talking about where I used to get in the ring because the guy that ran some of them was WrestlePalooza was the name of it. Bands, live bands, and wrestling. That's what his gimmick was. And he never did the live bands though. He didn't. I don't know what was up with him because he himself, the Pharaoh, had a band. He was a great guy, Tom Anthony, and that's what I love though is because he used to give me so much power. Then I got involved with Baron from CCW, Connecticut Championship Wrestling. What a great guy. Always used to give me respect. He used to love that a certain wrestler used to try to keep me out of my interviews, and he hated that. He loved me. It is what it is. That man would be known as Bulldog Blansky. It is Blansky and I have had heat for years, but I mean he's still a good guy. But he used to love to bust my chops. I remember one time he actually locked the back door so I couldn't get in. And then Tony DeVito, WWE, ECW, the Baldies, you know Tony DeVito, saw him doing that. He got again after that. That's all I can tell you. DeVito absolutely flipped on him, said, if you don't ever lock the door on that man, there's going to be a problem. That's what he said. Right to Blansky. I'll never forget that.
Wow.
Never forget that.
On Center Ring, It's been on the air for obviously quite some time, 20 plus years. I'm curious because I've been uh, right on the side of Fogman for a little bit. I kind of don't make all of them, you know. I just can't keep that Thursday open all the time. But when I'm there, it's an amazing time. He's been gracious enough to let me sit next to him, and we have a blast. I'm very curious. Has there ever been a real fight ever on center ring with any of your guests?
Yeah, there has. Back in the day, my cousin and there was another gentleman who he's not a bad guy. Don, you see him a lot at PAPW with his children. He actually used to wrestle. All right.
Okay.
He used to do dipshits, and it was so weird. He did a move that he should not have been doing in a studio. Okay. And he ended up crunching the poor kid's nose because the kid was getting ready for the move to take the bump. And yeah, his knee landed on his nose, busting his nose. So they got up and they started fighting for real.
Wow.
It wasn't cool. We kept the cameras going just for the heck of it, but wow, it was nuts.
Hey,
it wasn't a fun time.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you should throw it on a throwback one of these days. I don't know, because I'm kind of curious now. I'd almost like to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to find it again. It's on VHS, and that's the whole. I know the TC tapes. Tanya TC. She plugged their T. Love you. What do you call it? TC tapes actually has all of my VHS, and I know she's busy, but she is in the process of putting them up on YouTube. So if you TC tapes is YouTube, I know she has at least 30 clips of old centering stuff. The problem is the way I taped it. I was a moron that I wasn't smart when I taped it, because you know how we were back in the day, taping everything. So centering would come on, I would tape it, but then I would also tape SmackDown. So it's like you got to stop the pause it. Yeah, it's bad. So centering was right with SmackDown and Raw every time I taped it. So it was, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it, and you can't put up SmackDown and Raw. You know that. It's copyrighted. So it's tough to have to stop the tape while it's rolling. It's a lot of work for TC tapes.
Yeah. I'm curious. I have asked you this, but for the fans that don't know, you and Commissioner Hogg have been on this center ring venture the whole time together. Is that true?
I inherited Hogg, believe it or not. Hogg was friends with the cameraman, Fernando. I had a foreign guy who was dating my best friend. She would be called the Mistress of Darkness. Someday you'll meet her, you'll love her, but she just doesn't go to shows anymore. The Mistress of Darkness was dating Fernando, and he was the cameraman. I used to call, see, you know me, Don, I can never call anybody by the right name. So instead of calling Fernando, I called him Ferenzo. His name will always be Ferenzo, right? He goes one day, hey, do you have room for another camera guy? And I said, yeah, we need 3. This guy, Bruce, loves wrestling. So I met Bruce then. That was maybe the 4th episode. So Hogg has been with me since the 4th episode, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
And like, you want to see some funny ass footage? If I can find it, Hogg wrestling in a toga.
What?
I shit you not. Hogg wrestling in a toga is gonna make you laugh more than anything.
Bring that on. Yeah, we need to see that. Bring that on.
Oh, we do need to see that. After seeing that beard this week, we definitely need to see that. What is up, Hogg, with that beard? Are you trying to copy me, Hogg? Is that what you're trying to do? No copying the Fogman, Hogg.
Hey, you know what I did notice though? You released or Hog, I should say, has released this week's Center Ring. This Thursday, there was
Did you
footage.
watch that? Great.
I did, and it kind of threw me for a loop. The studio is closed, and
Yeah, it is.
I kind of took it over, threw some footage out there. That was a surprise, not just for me, but I seen everybody hitting the likes and the loves and stuff. You got a lot of fans out there, kid.
Yeah, we do. It is what it is. I mean, I was happy to see that promo contest. That promo contest has me rolling. It really doesn't. Something new. That's because of the coronavirus, though. That's something new.
So
I think they did a good job, though.
You and your family through this whole mess have been good, right?
Absolutely. I've been anyway. They're good. They're doing well. I just brought them Arby's.
You you are, people say, Kincaid, you're not just a fan, you're a little bit more. You as Fogman over the years have become relationship with many of the men and women in our industry throughout
This is true.
Because again, you've been associated with NEW for a long time, and you've gotten to be able to talk to some of the biggest names. I am personally, again, curious. What are some of the coolest names that come to your mind that you've been able to meet? Share with us.
Well, like I said, thanks to NEW, there's nobody I haven't met. Psycho Sid was fun, even though he slapped me across the face.
Wait, what?
Bam Bam Bigelow. Sid slapped me across the face during a promo because I wasn't ready for the promo. Basically, they threw me into the promo, and I was like, I'm not ready. I don't even know what to ask them. So I just, what's up, it's the Fogman. You were live on Center Ring, and I'm here with Psycho Sid. What is this interview about? Who am I fighting tonight? And I didn't know who he was fighting because they changed the card. It was card subject to change. So I said Doink the Clown, and he slapped me across the face. Like I had for 4 weeks the size of his hand on my face.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it hurt. But like I said, thanks to Northeast Wrestling, I'm a lot. We had King Kong Bundy. We had Gilbert. There was a lot. Jake the Snake Roberts. I'll never forget Jake in a promo that is on YouTube right now that you can watch. It's definitely on Tanya's what do you call it? It's on her page. You can watch that, and basically it's Dan the Man, or Dan the Man. Remember, not the man, the man. Sebago. Dan's interviewing Jake the Snake. After the interview, Jake was kind of drunk, so he pulled his pants down and he showed us the Bat Cave. What? All right, but before he showed us the Bat Cave to make us all puke, he actually said and talked crap about The Rock. He said that he was the original eyebrow, and that The Rock stole it from him. Yeah, I'll tell you, there's some funny centering clips. Gilbert, George the Animal Steel. Oh yeah, a lot of them. You name them. Now I'm gonna tell you a story that you need to know that you don't know about. This is about my dearest friend and my favorite, Mario Mancini. Now, when I first met Mancini, Kincaid, I shit you not, Mario Mancini was walking out of an inn, and I'm like, that's Mario Mancini, because I love the jobbers. I always love the jobbers because, I don't know, I just like the underdog, It was always me. I like the underdog. I always wanted to see the underdogs win. And I loved Hogan, Don, don't get me wrong, I did, but I was not a huge Hulkamaniac. No, I was a freaking Piper fanatic, man. I loved Roddy Piper. I was like a Piper man. I don't know why. I just love Piper better. I think it was because my older brother loved the Hulkamaniac so much, and I was tired of getting I was tired of him putting what do you call it, my head in his freaking arm. Watch these pythons, brother. Yeah, I didn't need that, man. My brother used to drive me crazy. But anyways, back to Mancini. So I loved him. Loved Mancini. Loved watching him on TV. He's walking out of an indie show, and I guess it was because he was too busy, but he big timed me. He wouldn't give me an autograph. He wouldn't give me the time of day. He just kept walking. I'm like, Mario Mancini. But yeah. Don't ever forget that, kid. And then what? Could go flash forward 20 years and he's on my show with me. You gotta love that. We had a lot of people, Don, on the show over the years. Believe me, we did. We had Tanya was obviously part of our show. Steve Ricard was another cameraman. When Tanya was on, Ricard was on. They were both camera guards of the cameras. And I will tell you this, both of them did a phenomenal job. They did. They moved the cameras. It wasn't like we have today where the camera is just still and Hawk can do it from the booth. No, you had to do this by yourself, like an original TV studio. So you had to have camera people working the cameras. It was fun. But I mean, I had a lot of people. I love that. I really do.
You told us the story of Mario Mancini big timing you, if you will. And you and him finally hooked up, like to connect and really start to talk. Did you ever tell him he did that, and how did that go?
Oh yeah. I love busting his balls about it. I bust his balls about it to this day. Yeah, you bet your life, Mancini. You bet your life. But you gotta admit, Don, we really do. I really love his product as well. PAPW has gone nothing but up. And now you know what they're doing now. I got secrets that you need to know. So they're doing for the coronavirus, mind you, they're doing matches, okay, that are going to be aired online. You'll see, I think it's a match a week or a match a day, but it'll be just the wrestlers and the ref. And I believe the ref is the one filming it. So maybe he has a GoPro on his shirt. I don't know how that's going to happen. I have to hear more from where it's coming from. But the management at PAPW said that these matches are going to be phenomenal. I think that's kind of a cool idea. They're giving us something to watch. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah. I absolutely am 100% down with it. Well,
you heard it here first from the man himself, the Fogman. Wow, that was amazing. Yep. Thank you, Fog. That was awesome. Now you get sent videos, and I've seen some kooky ass shit that people send you. You get videos sent from all over the place, from all sorts of people. How in the hell can you filter through all of that stuff to make a show?
There's so many videos. I grab the greatest that I can. There's always something I'm missing. So it just sucks that we miss a few. You know, I hate missing it, but we only have an hour. So cram 9 minutes into an hour. Very, very tough. Very, very. Too, when we like that, we don't interview the guests. But I mean, my time as an interviewer, Don, I believe it's far past. I don't know. I think it's far. I'm not the big interview guy. I'll let you do that.
Well, I've been having a hell of a time, man. Before I got on Center Ring, I asked Fog if I could go down and just check out a show of Center Ring, because at that time, it was about 30 minutes from my house. Now it's about 45. But he's like, yeah, come down. You can be like part of the studio, kind of thing. So I get down there, I cop a squat, hang out, check out the show. And I remember it vividly. Big Jim was on there. And if I'm not mistaken, because it could have been or might not have been, Rosalie and JC. I'm not sure if that was the same show, but
I
remember.
believe, yeah, I believe that was, yeah, I believe they were on the show together. I miss
So
Rosalie. Just putting that out there, I miss Rosalie. I miss JC. I really do.
Hey, I've got Rosalie coming on my show this weekend.
Sweet. Tell her I missed her.
I absolutely will. I can't wait to see her.
She always will be one of the greatest centering champions. Always.
Yeah, the very first, right? If I'm not.
Yeah. Very first, longest reigning too.
So I went there just to check out the show. I went to like maybe 3, maybe 4 center rings, and Fogman goes, "Hey, you're sitting over here tonight." And I go, "Where?" And he's like, "Next to me." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." He's like, "Yeah, you are." I go, "Dude, I've never been on camera." He goes, "You'll be fine. Don't worry about it."
You will be fine. I was right, wasn't I?
Well, the whole time, I never even looked at the camera, maybe but once. I think once, maybe twice. The entire hour, I was looking up, I was looking sideways, I was looking down. I just felt weird looking at a camera, trying to talk to people or whatever. But it took a little bit of adjusting, you know?
Yep. I mean, for me too, the first time. But don't forget, Don, you were live your first time. I was not live.
No.
Center Ring back in '96 was not live. Never was live because they don't have live capability at Cox Cable. Cox Cable, it's producer show, then they put it on. Never live. There's no phone calls, no nothing for that facility. So that's another reason why we moved to Wallingford, because I wanted something that was live. So the live capability is keeping me at WPAA.
Cool studio, nice little setup. And when I've invited guests to come down that have never been on there, and they walk in the door, they're like, "Oh shit, this is like a legit studio." And I go, I told you, it's a TV studio, bro."
Well, because Don, that's because somebody had a rumor. It's my own fault, because one day Stevie Stamos, remember Stevie Stamos? Oh boy. Stevie Stamos aggravated the woman downstairs. You know the woman I'm talking about. He aggravated her. I don't know what he said, what he did. That's not my problem. But she got so aggravated with him, she walked onto the stage. So I didn't know what to say, Don. So I just go, "Ma, come on, get off the stage, Ma." So since then, everybody thought Center Ring was actually done. My mother's making meatloaf upstairs for me. Yeah, this was like a running rip. They didn't realize that we do it in a. I think it's hilarious. I'm like, whatever. It looks that good in a basement. Okay. I guess I have a great basement.
Oh man!
But you know how it is. Rumors start. It is what it is. But I mean, I've had fun, Don. I've had a lot of fun. You got to admit, we love PWA, all right? But back, it started becoming weird, like PWA. When CTWE's closed, I couldn't get enough. I'm like, I need something else. PWA started, so I was in love with PWA. PvP, when it wasn't PvP, it was the way the wrestling world was, whatever. Then it changed to another name. I believe it was New Age Wrestling. It was New Age Old Time Wrestling. When Tunis bought it, it became PvP. Now all right, when it was called, what was it called again? I forget the name of their Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg was something else. I can't believe it. I have it on my YouTube.
Us versus them.
Us versus them. Yes. Okay. So I mean, I loved it. I loved all. I even loved Blitzkrieg. I do. But I was seeking wrestling out, so I drove Don. Me myself. Nobody else wanted to go. They all wussed out. Even Hog. To sleety. You know that I slid the entire car we are from PvP. It's about an hour, and I drove in the snow just because I had to get my wrestling engraving. I had to be there. I felt like if I miss it, it'll hurt. Like if I miss a show, I'm not gonna be a happy person. So I've always been like that too. Always. I mean, you see my posts. I love toys. I love video games. I love women. You better believe it. It is what it is. It is. It's what I am. It's who I am. So it's great. Especially Buffy. I love Buffy. I really do.
We could never tell. I mean, for real.
I know. Only 700 pictures on my face. You know, though, here's something you don't know. She knows that I love her. She knows that I share her pictures. Only because one year I tweeted her for her birthday, and she tweeted me back, looking at my realizing there's over 8,000 pictures of me on here. And she goes, "Thank you for all your love and support. You're the best." You better believe it, man. I was like, what? She knows? She knows. Wow. That was great, man. Absolutely great. And Katie Holmes knows it was a funny thing. I actually Instagrammed her. Katie Holmes knew, God, years ago that I have her posters up. I always had Katie Holmes' posters up. But mind you, Don, this was when Dawson's Creek was popular and it was still on the air, right? But she knows I had her poster up because she goes, "That's funny because I had Tom Cruise's poster up when I was younger." And of course, you know what happened with that. Oof. But yeah, that's typical Fogman for you. Better believe it.
Before
All right, Kincaid, is there anything else?
Hold on, just one second. I got one more question because the connection's really funky. I gotta say.
Yeah, I can.
How long is Center Ring gonna continue? Is there an end game to this, or are you just gonna keep doing it until you can?
Pretty much till I die, and then hopefully, I always hoped. I don't think it's gonna happen ever, but I always hoped on that my son would take over, because he's, believe it or not, a huge wrestling fan. He really is. It's just he hasn't found his niche yet. Like, he loved Frankie Arion. When Frankie Arion stopped wrestling, he stopped coming around. He was like, "Daddy, where's Frankie?" I'm like, "I don't know." And if Frankie wasn't on the card, he wasn't in. So it got bad for a while. But then again, he got a job too, and you know how that goes. He was working good hours. He had a wonderful job, so he wasn't gonna what do you call it, stop to go to wrestling. And I didn't expect him. I just luck out, It is what it is.
Well,
I couldn't stop. So.
Hey, I'm glad to hear that because, again, you've got a lot of fans out there that watch Center Ring regularly. Not only us fans, but a lot of the wrestlers and people in the business, they watch Center Ring. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to say from all of us, Fog, thank you for what you do. And I'm sure you get thanked all the time, but I thank you for everything that you do. And I can't thank you for your time. I think your connection's just been a tad wonky, but we pushed through. We got some good information you shared with the fans, and we got a little bit of history of the Center Ring itself. So that was really cool, and I appreciate it, man.
Yep. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yeah, no kidding. This was Throwing the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very, very special guest, the Fogman.
You bet your life. Have a great day, brother.
You too, brother.